Yo, what's up, everybody? My name is Clint. I teach producers how to produce, prepare, and pitch placement-ready music for TV. And if that's something you're interested in doing, you're in the right place, because we're back for another episode of the Music is My Business podcast, a live Q&A where I answer your questions. Shout out to everybody inside the Sync Producer Hub. Member-only chat. Miguel, I see you. Michael Connor, I see you. Ronald, what's up? Veteran Beats in the building, I see you. Hope all is well. On the YouTube side, we got Beats by Willie T TV. What's good? We got Mighty J Young in the building. Let me move this over here. Shout out to everybody in the stream, man. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do in the chat. We got Justin P back in the building. What's up, Justin P? We got Keith B, G5 back in the building. Super dope stuff. So this week has been again, man, these weeks just fly. Like, what's going on? But this has been a solid week. Got a lot of music done. Got some more music on my plate that I want to finish up for some briefs. That's probably going to kind of, ease into next week, early next week. Had some quick turnaround briefs early this week that kind of shifted things for me as far as like schedule and stuff like that. So was able to knock that out. So we'll see what happens from that. We'll see what happens. We also have a couple wins in the inside the Sync Producer Hub that was shared this week that I'm sharing a little bit. Justin P says the older we get, the faster they fly. That's a fact. It's crazy. What's up, Keith B? Tapping in from ATL. I see you, ATL. Okay. First we got Marshawn. Shout out to my guy Marshawn inside the Sync Producer Hub. He had a placement alert. So he forgot to mention he got a new placement on a new show, TV1, I think is the channel, Raising Fame. It was a track he did on a collab 2 years ago. So the moral of the story is keep grinding, creating, keep submitting, etc. And in due time, things will hit. Be encouraged, folks. It's a process with Sync. I am learning. Keep creating albums and pitching to libraries. Keep building your catalog and things will happen for you. Keep believing, have faith, and expect great things to happen. That's super dope, super inspiring, and super honest. Like, sometimes, man, we'll sit down and we'll create music and it'll be great if it gets placed as soon as possible. But as you can see in this situation, it was a track he did 2 years ago, and now it finally got placed on Raising Fame on TV1. And from the patterns I've seen, is like once it starts getting placed, it'll probably start popping up on other channels and things like that. Because that's just how it works, man. Some things happen quicker, some things take a little bit longer. Like, there's tracks, that you'll do years ago that'll just out of nowhere start picking up traction. So you kind of have to create with that in mind. Like, I'm building a catalog of music that will continue to pay me for the rest of my life, right, and beyond. I was on IG Live the other night and was basically just saying, like, over the next 15 years, like, what choice are you gonna make? Because no matter what, 15 years is gonna pass, right? So are you gonna spend like 15 years not creating music, not trying to pursue sync licensing? Or even if it's not sync licensing, like, you don't have to do sync licensing, but if it's anything that you're trying to do to create income for your music, I personally believe sync licensing is one of the best ways. But that's just me. You don't have to believe what I believe. But are you gonna do that, or are you going to create music as much as you can, as often as you can, for the next 15 years, knowing that eventually this music is going to work? And then I want to be able to look 15 years back and be like, man, I created 15 years worth of music that's now earning money for me, and now, like, I have more freedom to do, like, the really important things, like spend time with family. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to sit and grind it out in the studio every night. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it, man. Yeah, the time is gonna go either way. So you might as well spend it doing something that's gonna be worth it for you in the long run. Then we got another win from Mars Beats, number 2. So he had a win like a couple weeks ago. So it says, I got another one accepted into the same library. This is wild. I know it doesn't mean it will be used for anything, but still, I always feel like my work isn't good enough. And this is the affirmation that even if it isn't, to just keep going and get better on the road to 10 placement. Shout out to Mars Beats. That's super dope. But Mars, this is when I'm gonna crush this limiting belief that you threw in there. I don't know if you noticed it, but he was just like, I know it doesn't mean it will be used for anything. And throw that away, because listen, if you get to the point to where a publisher is signing your music, I've personally never seen a publisher sign music that they didn't think would work for sync or for TV and film. So the fact that you didn't only get one signed, you got 2 signed in like a matter of 2-3 weeks. That's a great sign, bro. And like, it's only a matter of time. So if you keep up this same momentum and just keep creating and keep pitching, pretty soon, man, that catalog is gonna start adding up, and then you're gonna be so busy like working and just submitting that you're gonna look up and you'll be sitting on some placements, man. So I know it's just a matter of time, man. So keep it up. I'm sure you're on the right track, because I mean, you got 2 tracks signed by a publisher. So that's super dope. Shout out to Mars Beats, man. So yeah, let me tap in with the chat, man. If you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. We're hanging out for the next hour. Which music library is best for trap beats? We actually talked about this the other day. It doesn't really exist like a best library for a certain genre. The best library is really going to be the one that you kind of build a relationship with, the one that you vibe with, and that's going to be different for everybody. Honestly, there's no one single one to pitch to this library for trap, because honestly, with trap and hip hop being so popular right now, let me turn this down, because like, yeah, with trap and hip hop being so popular right now, most publishers, most libraries are gonna accept it. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really go wrong with most of them. The only thing you may run into if it happens to be something where they just like, oh, we have a ton of this already, and then you just have to pivot and do something else. But most are like, if anything is trending, man, most libraries are going to be accepting that stuff. Willie says patience. You already know, man. Willie's sitting on a bunch of placements too. So you know, for people in the Sync Producer Hub Zoom, if you guys want to come up and ask, I always mention like video, but technically you don't even have to be on video because the audio will still come through. So if you want to like hop up, just raise your hand and then I'll pull your audio up and then you can ask your question. Or if you want to be on video on the stream, you can do that as well. Completely up to you. But let me know. Yes, I am drinking coffee 9 o'clock at night. This is a thing currently. I'm gonna be up late, so that's the second cup of coffee for the day. What happens when you want to submit a song but lost complete contact with the other collaborator? It's a wrap. It is a wrap. There's nothing you can do. Like, man, horror stories. So a friend of mine, actually the same guy who put me on to sync licensing in college, I think he was doing some music supervision work, and they had a song like picked out, like, we want to use this, all we need to do is paperwork now. The artist could not get in touch with the producer. This was a $30,000 placement. Couldn't get in touch with the producer. Guess who missed out on $30,000? The artist. it hurts. I know. I seen Michael just like, dang. He felt that. Like, yeah, man. So that's why. And this has almost happened. This has almost happened. I'm trying to think. This has almost happened to me personally. The thing that saved me was that when we created the song, I did a split sheet. On that split sheet, I asked for email address and I asked for phone number, because email, like, people change email addresses. I don't know. There's scammers out there that like take over emails or whatever. Things happen. So like, have at least 2 ways to communicate with that collaborator so that that doesn't happen. Like, cause yeah, you don't want that to be you, man. And it's one of those things where you don't know things are in the works until they reach out. Like, music supervisors reach out like, hey, we actually placed this in the thing. Here's the agreement. Get all the writers to sign it. And then if you're like, yo, I haven't talked to this person, I can't find this person, you gotta be the one to tell the supervisor, like, I'm sorry, or the coordinator, like, hey, I can't reach out to the collaborator. One thing that can also save you on that split sheet is to have a one-stop clause in there that says either one of these collaborators on this split sheet can sign off on a sync on behalf of everyone involved in this record. That will save you as well, because now it's like, if you lose contact, it's all good, because you legally have permission to say, hey, this is a go, and boom, now you just gotta hunt them down to pay them, which is, again, on the other collaborator side, it's like, yo, you want to be easy to be reached out to, because if somebody hitting you up like, yo, I got $15K for you from a placement, I want somebody to be able to call me, text me, shoot, yeah, you might even have to pop up at the crib, and I don't even do that, but $15K, you might just have to knock on the front door, man. You know what I mean? So make sure they have all that information in place so you don't miss out on the opportunity. Michael Connor says, typing on the computer because it's faster. Can I share a win? Yeah, absolutely, man. How you want to share? You want to come up in the member only chat? Let me know. I can pull you up. Or did you just want to type it? Yeah, go ahead and type it. I see you. Yeah, it looks like you kind of tied up a little bit. So Miguel says, should one stop submitting to a library that you don't see a lot of movement and submit to another library, or should you keep submitting briefs but less frequent and put eggs in different libraries at the same time? I like to kind of put eggs in different baskets at the same time, like at least a solid number, right? Like, I wouldn't do like a couple tracks. I'll do like, I'll load them up with like, I don't know, like 15 tracks or something, and see what they do with those 15. Like, something has to shake with one of those, you know what I mean? And then you can kind of gauge that way. And then on the flip side, there's been libraries where, like, I knew the owner, or I knew someone just on staff, and I just developed a relationship with them, and they were just cool and just easy to get in touch with. So it might have taken like a couple years to see a placement, but because they kept in touch, because the vibe was dope, because I love what they were about, I just kept submitting to briefs, and then eventually the placements came in. It's just like, I just continue to work with them. So kind of fill it out, man. Like, if you never hear from them, like on a personal level, you just don't feel like a connection or whatever, move on and start putting your eggs in more baskets that are actually getting placements for you, and double down on the ones that are working. So that's what I would do. Currently with 4 libraries. Yeah, you can definitely load the 4 up, and then find a few more, see which ones just work best for you. The Fire Starter, what's up, bro? Shout out to the Fire Starter in the building. I know he's sitting on heat over there. I have a library that I have over 25 cues signed and no movement yet. That's why I asked. Oh yeah, at 25, I would probably kind of fill out the other ones after that. I think that's a decent amount to see if there's any traction. Especially if they're like styles of music that kind of gets used a lot. Yeah. So all right. So we got Michael Connor typed his win in. It says, been working with my guy Chris Bailey, fantastic drummer and songwriter. His song Here For You will be on a project with Fred Hammond, Keith Staton, and Marcus Cole. I was honored to orchestrate the strings on it. It comes out on August 30th. That's a win. The OGs, that's commission days. Got pull Keith in there, man. That's commission. Marcus Cole. That's what's up, man. Congrats, Michael. If you guys haven't heard Michael's music, we play his music a lot during the live music reviews, and his strings are crazy. So glad to see that came through and that's official, bro. I remember you telling me about that a little while ago. So that's dope. Shout out to you and Chris Bailey, man. Y'all did y'all's thing. All right, let's see. So we got the congrats in the building. For the new people in the stream, man, let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do. If you have a question about sync, drop it in the chat. Zim Zada's in the building. What's up, Zim? Switch style music, Stanley. I see you all. Fun fact, Michael Connor played for a worship leader who supported Keith way back in the day in London. That's what's up. It's a small world, man. It's a small world. My mother-in-law went to school with Fred Hammond. It's like another random fun fact. We're all connected to Fred Hammond somehow. It's wild. I seen another question from Cool Guy. Is it mandatory to have your own publishing company for sync? Not necessarily. There's situations where it could come in handy. For example, working directly with music supervisors or like directly on a production with, the team. But if you are going the route of partnering with sync publishers, aka music libraries, or even stock music sites, sometimes that can be different. But if you're partnering with a publisher, they're technically the publisher, so then they register the works on your behalf. So you would get like 100% of the writer share of royalties. They get 100% publisher shares of the royalties. So they kind of put their publishing company as, that admin of that work, and they represent that, exploit it, pitch it on your behalf, all of that good stuff. So in that instance, it's not necessary. They kind of do all that work for you, which if you're starting out, man, I don't know. I like doing that because it allows you to really just focus on creating the music and then just pitching. So as long as you get your music production right, get your structure right, get your mixes right, make sure you're producing music that's actually needed and being requested, then you can just focus on those things, just creating and pitching, and then let the publisher worry about exploiting the work and maintaining the relationships with the clients and collections and like all of that stuff. So yeah. Cass on the beat, what's up? Can you briefly explain the difference between the writer share and publisher share of royalties? Literally, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, but it's different. So think of it as, depending on which PRO you're with, right? I think BMI may do 200, ASCAP CSAC will do like 100. Let's just say 100%, just to make this not confusing. So it's like 100% of performance royalties, right? So when you do a publishing deal with the publisher, you're going to split royalties 50-50. So that 50-50 is the writer share and then the publisher share, because before you sign a publishing deal, technically you own the publisher's share of royalties as well. So you own the writers and the publisher share. So if you had your own publishing company, you could collect that as well. So you get 100% of both. But when you do a publishing deal with another publisher, you keep 100% of the writer share, they keep 100% of the publisher share of royalties. And if something is publicly performed, like on TV, that is usually an identical amount of money, at least from my experience, what I've seen. Like if you get, $50 for a TV placement on the writer side, then there was $50 paid out on the publisher side of royalties. So if you don't do a publishing deal, you have your own publishing company, you go directly to a music supervisor, you get both of the $50. So now you got $100. Does that make sense? Cool. I tried to make that as non-confusing as possible because it's crazy. Gavino. If you're trying to reach out to artists, is it formal to reach their management, or do I have to reach out to frequent producers of those artists? I say probably management, or maybe you can find an A&R person. I guess it just depends on what the goal is. But yeah, management, somebody on their team, close to their team, whether it's an A&R manager, heck, it may even be a producer. But yeah. So there was something I wanted to talk about that we had shared inside of Sync Producer Hub, was this it's such a hot topic because it's confusing as heck. Like samples, the proper use of samples and loops. So I came across this and it's wild because people are still confused even when I share this, because it's confusing. Like it's confusing. So I'm gonna share, like, I came across a publisher, it's like a stock music site, and they laid out the proper use of samples and loops, aka if you're pulling something off Splice or some other sample site. Now I want to preface this by saying this particular publisher, I got it from tunestock.com or something, so it's this publisher's guidelines, but this applies to a lot of different publishers that I've worked with. However, there are some publishers who will still say, I don't want to see anything Splice, and you got to sign off on that when you sign the agreement. There was nothing. We don't want anything from there. So this is how they outlined it, and I thought it was really good. So proper use of samples, loops, one-shot samples from sound libraries or sample packs that allow for commercial use are acceptable to incorporate into your compositions. So one-shot samples, a snare, a kick, an 808, whatever. Even though there has been past issues with the 808, but I think that was because a producer uploaded an 808 that he actually didn't own and tried to resell it as his own, which creates a whole nother can of issues. All right, so that's one shots. They say it's acceptable. All right, drum and percussion loops from sound libraries or sample packs that allow for commercial use are generally acceptable to incorporate into your compositions, as long as the track contains other drum and percussion elements as well. In other words, your drum or percussion stem can't be an isolated drum loop from a sample loop pack, as this could be considered a resale of the sample and a violation of the terms of use of the sample/loop pack. That last sentence, this could be considered a resale of the sample and the violation of the terms of use of the sample/loop pack, is one of the biggest issues that publishers have with using stuff from Splice and other websites, royalty-free websites, is because in our business, we create stems and alternate versions and mixes, and that includes like a drum only version, right? Or like, say if you bounced out a stem and it was percussion only, but literally all of your percussion was like this percussion loop from Splice. So technically you can't say that that's yours. Send a stem of that, an editor place that stem, and you get paid royalties, or you get paid a licensing fee for that. That's literally illegal. So that's like one of the biggest issues. It's never that like, well, it's not that it's illegal to use loops and samples from Splice. It's just that the way we operate in sync could get you in a tricky situation to where you out here doing illegal activities. So that's one big thing. Okay, so it says melodic and vocal loops from sound libraries and sample packs are not acceptable. Vocal hooks or phrases from sound libraries and sample packs are not acceptable. The use of, now I will say, vocal hooks or phrases from sound libraries and sample packs are not acceptable. I have had situations where a publisher was just like, hey, it's okay if you use a vocal phrase or hook from a Splice, just make sure you generate that agreement and show us that you have legal rights to use this in a new work. That's why I said it depends on the publisher and it depends on the situation. That's what makes this so confusing, because like this company has their guidelines, but you could be talking to another publisher and they're like, hey, for this particular brief, like we're cool with this. We just need to see some proof. And then you'll have another library which is like, we want none of it, right? Like go get a vocalist to do something original. That's why this is so confusing, because it's always like a, well, it depends, like, you know what I'm saying? So the use of commercial music or audio samples, i.e. James Brown, Michael Jackson, Beatles, dialogue from a film, etc., is not acceptable. So, I mean, obviously, you know, you can't be out here sampling the greats and use it for sync, because, yeah, they ain't trying to bring in those major publishers. The budget is way too much for that. So I thought that was a great like outline of like the main issues that, you know, revolves around using Splice and other services. Not just like, there's other services out there. It's not just Splice. I think that was like one of the popular ones. But that's where that stuff comes from, man. And that is why I personally, I stay away from like all of it. There's been a couple occasions where I use like the vocal hook or phrase, like I told you guys in that situation. I only do that if the publisher is like, yo, go ahead, do it. Just generate a license so we can see that you have proof to do it. Outside of that, I keep it clean and keep it all original. Just because it's simple. I like simple stuff in life, right? So hopefully that's helpful and kind of clarifies different things with regarding, you know, loops and stuff like that. All right, let's get back in this chat, answer some questions. The Firestarter says, what's the best copywriting workflow? Should you copyright the cues before you submit to libraries or after get them signed? What's your process? All right, we got to have a real discussion, y'all. All right. We gotta have a real discussion about this, and I'm gonna keep it 100. I create a lot of cues, a lot of instrumental cues, a lot of full songs for sync on a weekly basis. I am not about to pay all the dollars that it would cost to copyright every single last one of those tracks. So you know what I do? This is just me. You don't have to do this. I don't even worry about it. The moment you create something, you're the owner of it. Registering the copyright with copyright, copyright.gov will, solidify that ownership and, give you some solid proof that'll definitely hold up in court should something happen. But I have not, knock on wood, had any issues in this space with that. Now, there are situations where I will go ahead and copyright a song. Usually that is on like working with artist side of things. That's when I worry about it a little bit more, and then just go ahead and file it for sync. I don't even worry about it because it's gonna be way too much. And especially for like the instrumental cues, man, like I don't know when this stuff is gonna get used, when it's gonna pay out. So it doesn't make financial sense for me to like pay all that money up front just copywriting it, or registering the copyright, I should say. So I don't personally, I just don't. So yeah, that's my process, not doing it. Basically. And there's probably some people out there like that will just argue with me and just be like, you are an idiot. Why are you doing that? But to each his own. Right. Lex, what's up? It's been a minute, still in the A. What AI tools are in your workflow? Chat GPT is in my workflow. I'll want to do something in Logic and can't quite remember how to do it. I'll ask Chat GPT. Ava, AIVA. It's like an AI music generator thing that isn't in the middle of a lawsuit with a major publisher. I'll use that to generate ideas from time to time. What else? I use it for a few different things. Coming up with ideas, coming up with briefs. What else? But yeah, there's no AI workflow per se as far as the music creation side of things. I have tried to upload a track because I have like Chat GPT Plus. I tried to upload a track and have it like give me like the mood and the vibe and like kind of do metadata for me essentially, but it didn't do a good job, and I think it said it needed like some other type of plugin. So I think I would have to do something a little more like on some coding stuff, a little more advanced to be able to do that to make it functional. But I tried that. I was playing around with it. But yeah, but as far as creation, I just been kind of creating mostly just from scratch, because just the stuff I've been working on, the Ava AI generator, it has not been hidden for the music I've been creating. So I just been kind of still just doing my own thing. Good question. Does TuneSat have worldwide jurisdiction on monitoring your track placements, or are they only monitoring in the United States? They do not have worldwide jurisdiction. US and then parts of Europe are like the two main places for that. So yeah. All right, let me catch up. Miguel says I've used ChatGPT where I input a brief I got sent by email and asked it to break it down for me and give me suggestions on what to do. That's a great use for it. You can also ask it to give you, say you get a brief and they don't give you references, but they kind of give you an idea of what they want. Like you can ask ChatGPT to like spit out 3 references and YouTube links for tracks that sound like this, and then like copy and paste whatever they told you in the brief. I've done that, and that's worked pretty well. It'll literally give you like the YouTube link straight to the video. So that's dope. AI generators will get you caught up in some copyright nonsense. Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, now is just like the time to kind of be really, really careful with that stuff. publishers are like, oh no, like we don't want any AI generated music. I seen one publisher talk about they like literally use that as like a marketing thing where they was just like human made music for media or something like that. I thought it was hilarious. So yeah. All right, let's see. These are great questions, man. You always come with the great questions. LW says, read this earlier, crazy. One recording may have multiple master owners and writers, each of which could work with a different publishing company, and gaming companies have to get everyone's approval. Yes, exactly. Each of which could work with a different publishing. Yeah, and that's when having too many collaborators gets weird too. You know what I mean? Like in sync, I don't think I go past 3 collaborators on one song. Cause I mean, 3 people should be able to get the job done. You know what I mean? Like I just, yeah. Like, and honestly, the 3 was really because, well, there was a writer team, you know, so one does like the writing, one does like the melody. So boom, I get that. Makes sense. Sometimes you have a couple producers on there, and then you have a couple producers and you have a writer. So for sync, yeah, I usually keep like there's the exceptions where, you know, there was just a few hands involved or a song needed to get remixed and you didn't want to cut anybody out. But for like new things, I try and keep it at like 3 max just to keep it clean and simple. But yeah, thanks for sharing that, LW, the legendary LW. So vocal sounds like Hevosity, vocalese. That's like oohs, ahs, phrase using voice. I believe that. Yes, that is acceptable, Zimzada. Cause like you're like playing the oohs and ahs, right? You're creating your own melody with those oohs and ahs, and just like a regular like VST instrument. So yeah. Yeah, no doubt the fire starter. Like I'm gonna keep it 100. 100%. With loops, I tend to chop up the loop across the keyboard and make my own drum patterns. Again, if you change the beat, you're not using the loops in their original format arrangement. Al Rhyme says, what if I'm using vocal one shots from my Akai drum machine? Can I get dinged for that? Do I need permission from Akai, or is that fair game? That's probably fair game, because again, it's kind of like it's like a one shot, and then, you know, I've used those on a project where they was like, we want like vocal chops. They were doing like a vocal chop album, so they were fine with that, and I would just play, you know, the track. Listen to this track. I don't even think I can fast forward it. Forget it. It's gonna take too long to get to the vocal part. So the track that's like playing in the background, it has like little vocal chops in there. So it was like stuff like that. Usually you're good, because I like played the melody with the vocal one shot. You know what I mean? So yeah, you should be good. What if I have a piece of a hi-hat in your song from a sample pack and change the pitch? Is that acceptable to submit for sync? Piece of a hi-hat. Yeah, like I don't think they're gonna catch like a hi-hat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, especially when you're gonna play a different hi-hat pattern. Now, if you try and sell the hi-hat as a sample, that's illegal. Like you can't take somebody's hi-hat and then sell that in your sample pack and call it your hi-hat, you know? So, yeah. Not sure if this was answered. Miguel asked, how does Song Trust and Sound Exchange play into sync, or do we use the publishing of libraries alone? So most libraries don't collect Sound Exchange royalties. Literally, we were just talking about this in my TV Placement Mastery group. What's today? Like 2 days ago. So Sound Exchange would be like a separate registration, because that really deals with like Pandora radio, or like satellite, like Sirius XM radio. So most publishers, and it's for people who own like the master recordings and or like the I think it's like the performing artist on that or something. So that's something different. Song trust is like if you do a publishing deal with a sync publisher, right? Let's use BMG Production Music for example. I do music. It's signed to BMG Production Music. I can't take that track and register that with Song Trust because Song Trust is a publishing admin, which means in order for them to be an admin, they have to go out and like collect on your behalf, and then they're going to register it in a way to where they can collect that, and then those, they register it with their publishing entity as publisher. So you're going to create like a bunch of mess, because it's like registering it with two publishers, and BMG is like exclusive. So in that situation, you wouldn't use Song Trust in that situation. Now, if you're doing kind of more direct pitching and publishing to like a production or like a music supervisor or something like that, and you're using your own publishing company and Song Trust is the admin of that publishing on your behalf, on the behalf of say ClintMusic Publishing, then that's when you could go ahead, do what you need to do with Song Trust. And then they could also collect any, I think they can collect like any upfront sync fees and stuff on your behalf too if you wanted to. And they kind of play the role where it's just like, we can get involved if you want us to get involved. If not, we're cool with that too. So yeah, something to keep in mind with that. You definitely don't want to like go and register everything with Song Trust that you have signed to other publishers. Yeah. I didn't read the craziest part. Did I miss it? Oh wait, okay. I missed the whole thing. The point of the story. So there was a part 2 to LW's the whole multiple writer thing. So it says Vicky Newman, who has licensed music for many games, in addition to founding the music tech consultancy Cross Border Works, once had to get 143 wait, pause. Like I'm processing how major of a headache this was. Number one, Cross Border Works once had to get 143 agreements complete to clear 20 songs. Let's do the math on that. Where's my calculator? Let's average 143 agreements. 140, no, not 42, 43. Divided by 20. On average, it's like seven agreements per song. That's wild. But yeah, man. That's why I feel like, I don't know, man. Publishing, like people was like, I want to, my bad, G5. I just seen your hand. I'm going to bring you up in a minute. Publishing is a lot. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like everybody's like, I want to own everything. I want to own the whole pie. It's like, all right, go ahead. Here's the pie. Have it. Because now you're the one responsible for reaching out to everybody, getting everybody to sign. You're responsible for making sure that all the registrations happen and happen correctly, because even the big publishers mess that up. You're responsible if somebody used the sample and didn't tell you, and then a client finds out the sample was used. Now they're looking at you like, why'd you give us this music? Like, you get to have all of that with that extra half of the pie that you want to keep. That's why it's like, I kind of like just being a producer and letting publishers be publishers, man, because you kind of inherit a lot of extra a lot of extra work. So, man, hey, those tracks they must have been hitting. They was like, this is worth it. G5, let's bring the homie G5 up, man. He has a question.
Testing.
There we go, man. What's up, bro? How you feeling?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Good. I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind. First question, I was wondering, quantity versus quality.
Yeah.
I'm hearing different people say different things. Like some people say, okay, you know what? Focus on getting a huge library. And then that's when you will start seeing some kickback as far as monetized income. And then I hear others say, you know what? It's about the quality. Don't focus on the quantity. And I just kind of want to get your take on that.
Both. Like, do as many quality tracks as you possibly can. Because, listen, man, I mean, I feel like the standard for sync music has increased over the years. 10 years ago, man, you can get away with a couple garage band loops and then playing over the rest of the stuff. Boom, a minute and a half, sting ending. You probably don't even have transitional sounds in that joint, and you can get placed. Now they're like, nah, man. Like they're looking for quality music that can compete with what you're hearing in mainstream music, right? Or on the radio, on the Billboard charts. Like, so I don't think we have the luxury to sacrifice quality in the name of just spitting out a bunch of as many tracks as possible. You know what I mean? And I feel like 10 quality tracks, like well produced and well written songs, has longevity to where, you know, I mean, you can knock out 50 trash beats and then none of them get placed, or like a couple get placed, but you can get five tracks that like are in high demand, that was written in a way that will be timeless, or just, you know what I mean? Like that's gonna pay you way more than having a catalog of 50 tracks, but only like 5 of them are actually productive and generating income for you. So my take on it is do as many quality tracks as possible, because the more you have out there, the higher the chance. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm not gonna say do 5 of the best tracks ever and then stop and then you'll be okay. Like, no, you have to feed. You got to build that catalog, absolutely, but don't sacrifice the quality of your music in doing so.
Okay, cool. And one more question, if you don't mind. A completely different question. So I just got accepted into my first music library in April.
Congrats. Dope stuff.
Thank you. And I've been submitting briefs and things of that nature, and I'm trying to stick with exclusive libraries, but it's hard. Thanks, Michael Connor. Appreciate it, Mike Connor. I know it's not an easy thing to do, but you know, I feel like I've exhausted my resources. I'm using ChatGPT, the list that you provide in your course, and I don't know, I'm just looking, and it's so hard. I don't know if you have if there's anything else that I can do that I'm not already doing.
So to make sure I understand, you're trying to find more non-exclusive publishing companies and avoid the exclusive ones? Did you freeze?
Listening, testing.
Okay, you're back now.
Oh, everybody froze.
Yeah. So
okay.
I wanted to make sure I understood you correctly. So are you you said you're trying to avoid the exclusive libraries and find more non-exclusive?
The reverse. I'm trying to get into exclusive.
Okay.
Yeah, and avoid the non-exclusive.
Okay, got you. how long has it been since you pitched to the exclusive ones that you've pitched to?
Some of them is I at the beginning of the year, like January, February,
Okay.
March, and then I just kind of I'm waiting. Some if it's been at least 6 months since, and some I like haven't heard back. Most of them I haven't
Okay.
heard back anything from, but one, actually I submitted to maybe like I think in April, and then it got back into me that within that month and accepted me.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then what kind of tracks have you submitted? Is like this?
They were like the orchestral type hip hop
Okay.
type tracks.
Do you have any
Yeah.
other genres that you specialize in?
I'm starting to get into more of like pop music, kind of like the I don't know if you know who Dua Lipa,
Yep.
bass
Yep.
driven, like this, that type of music. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I would say. Circle back around to the companies you've already kind of submitted to.
Hmm.
Um, build a new playlist um, of that second best or favorite genre you like to create, and then
Hmm.
start pitching that, because
Okay.
it could have been a timing thing of when you submitted it. But I feel like that would be a productive way to where it's like you're not being annoying with the follow up, and it's been a while, right? So like
Right.
that 6 months mark. But I think submit something fresh, submit some new music in a different genre, and see if that gains any more traction. Because
Okay.
it could just be they just didn't need it at the time, or they had enough of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm very careful of I don't want to bug. I don't want to just I'll send it in the message or my email,
Yeah.
and then let that just and then move on to the next thing.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So,
So yeah, keep track of the ones you're reaching out to, and then yeah, that's what I would do. Build another a pitch playlist, and then start submitting that different
okay.
style of music. See how that works
Perfect.
out.
All
Yep.
right. Gracias, señor. Thank you.
No doubt, man. De nada.
All right. All right.
It's my only Spanish word. All right. What time is it? It's almost live music reviews. The Firestar said I paid for Taxi last year, then took TV Placement Mastery with Clint this year. I submitted a queue, and then the publisher asked me to do an 8-song album. Not a scam, but totally necessary. Oh, but not totally necessary. Yeah, I agree. Taxi's not a scam. It's legit. They do what they say they do. Just understand it is a service in between you and the publisher, and they have to like your music before they forward it to the publisher. So I did tax. That was like one of the, honestly, man, it wasn't many options out there when I was trying to break it to, like, either you go to Taxi or you just like figuring it out on your own. And my music was, oh boy, I had a lot of learning to do. So it didn't work out. It didn't quite work out for me. But the information, it lit a fire under me at their conference that they have. Oh, my bad. Let me G5's like, bro, take me off of this off this stream, bro. Like, all right. So that's it. All right, we're about to get ready for live music reviews. So if you're on the YouTube stream, stick around. We're gonna start that joint back up. We're about to review music from inside the Sync Producer Hub community, to see if this music is ready for TV and film. So that's it. If you thought this was helpful, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to ask your questions live inside the member only chat, then go to syncproducerhub.com, so you'll be the first to know when we open it up for new members as well. So that's it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.